Good morning, my beautiful students. How are you today? I hope that you are pretty fine. Okay, let's start with the class that we have for today that is going to be focused on conditionals as yesterday, okay? Remember that if you have any question, any situation, please let me know and I'm going to be helping you. Well, let's start with our class for today. First of all, I would like to say good morning one more time. I hope that you are having a wonderful and great week. Almost Friday, almost weekend. You are going to be resting, maybe sleeping, chilling out, and so on. Okay, let's start with this. So, as I was saying, hello one more time. And let's start with this that I have here for you. Let's start. Conditionals. Yesterday we were talking about these conditionals. What are the conditionals? That sounds like conditions. Well, actually, in certain way, yes, it is. In certain way, okay? But the situation is that you are going to be having different conditionals. I would like to be pretty specific with this topic that is going to be pretty useful for you. So, for example, we are going to be having three kind of conditionals and mixed conditionals that are going to be, as I told you, pretty useful for us in order to have different ways to express some results and some conditions. But well, let's see the examples in order that we can learn about this, okay? So conditionals. Here you have two clues, okay? The first one, tac. If, this is going to be our magic word. And the result, that is going to be our second magic word, okay? If, and the result. What is this? Okay. So, when we talk about conditionals or with conditionals, we are going to be having two parts, the condition and the result, okay? Two clauses, the condition and the result. Perfect. The condition and the result. Now, what we can, something that we can do is to change the position. Start with the result and finish my clause with my condition. There's no problem. Remember, you can do almost whatever you want if you have the correct sentence or the correct grammatical sentence, the correct syntaxes, and also if the context is correct and so on, okay? You can be doing different things with this. Well, let's start with the zero conditional. Yes, let's start from 0 to 3, to the number 3. Zero conditional, what is that? Okay, let me explain it to you. The zero conditional is going to be used when you want to talk about general truth, habits, some situations related with the real world. Oh, my camera is down. It is here now. The real world, or you want to be talking about some scientific facts. No. Some examples are these. If it rains, remember, if it rains, the ground gets wet. Oh, gets wet, sorry. How we are going to be forming this? Well, my magic word, remember that my magic word is going to be if. That is going to be my magical word, if. If we cannot be talking about conditionals if we don't have the word if or the word when. Where is my W? When. Excellent. If or when, the one that you want to choose, okay? If or when plus your close, what you want to say, but it has to be in present simple. And also you need to have your result, but in present simple, okay? As here, if I cry, it is in present simple, simple present. If I cry, comma, I have a headache. Ooh, that is a general truth for you, okay? Or maybe it could be a habit that you have. Maybe. If I cry, I have a headache. Ooh. If my magical word, if you mix yellow and blue, comma, you get green color. It's a general truth. It could be a scientific fact. It's a real word. But as you can see, my close is in present, my condition is in present, and my result has to be in present. This is going to be the result of what am I saying here in my condition. Okay, without condition, there is not a result. Or without a result, there is not a condition. If you are tired, can we use the verb to be? Yes, indeed, because remember the verb to be is in present simple. If you are tired, you go to the bed early, sorry. If you're tired, you go to bed early. It is a situation, it is your condition, and this is going to be the result that you are going to be having. If you're tired, you go to bed early. We can say the opposite. You go to bed early if you are tired. You get green if you mix yellow and blue. I have a headache if I cry. The ground gets wet if it rains. We can be changing. We can be switching. It's cool, it's okay. If you leave the object, it drops. We can change it. The object drops if you leave it. Ooh. If you pour oil on water, it floats. The oil floats if you pour it on water. Or oil floats if you pour it on water. If you smoke, comma, you get all early. You get all early if you smoke. It's the same. I'm going to use my word one. When you leave the object, it drops. The object drops when you leave it. It's the same. It is exactly the same. The unique situation that you are going to be facing is that if you're going to be mentioning first a condition, you need to use or write a comma. But if you're going to be mentioning first the result, you don't need to use a comma. It drops if you leave the object. Forget about the comma. That is the first conditional. Okay, remember, this is going to be used when we want to talk about facts that are generally true and do not change. Okay, always happens. And also it refers to a general situation that always happens if a condition is met. Okay, and remember, if condition and my result, but it has to be zero conditional. That is the clue. Zero conditional, present simple and present simple. Okay, always zero conditional, your condition in present and your result is going to be in present. If you leave ice in the sun, comma, it melts. The ice melts. Obviously, I need to write I need to mention my subject. The ice melts if you leave it in the sun. Okay, if you stand in the rain, you get wet. As what I was telling you, Your comma is necessary if I start with my condition and then with my result. Okay, if you stand in the rain, comma, you get wet. Obviously, when we are speaking, we are not going to say, if you stand in the rain, comma, you get wet. No. It is going to be when you are writing these conditionals, okay? Obviously, another thing, when we are talking or when we are speaking, yes, we are going to be having the comma. We are not going to mention it, but we are going to use it. If you stand in the rain, you get it, you get wet. Not a lot of time, obviously, but if you stand in the rain, you get wet. Did you notice that space of time? Well, we need to demonstrate the use of the comma, okay? Remember, intonation when we are speaking in English. If you stand in the rain, comma, you get wet. But if you want to write the opposite, and if you want to say the opposite, I mean, if you want to start with the result and then with the condition, what I was telling you, the main clause and then your condition. You get wet if you stand in the rain. You are not going to be needing a comma. You are not going to be writing a comma. You get wet if you stand in the rain. Everything is going to be together. When we are starting with my result and with my condition, okay, that is the unique rule that we are going to be having. And never forget the word if. Very good. That was the zero conditional, and we were having some examples related to that. For example, if it rains, you get wet. If it rains, you get wet. When can I change it? Well, you get wet if it rains. You can use the word when. When it rains, you get wet. You get wet when it rains. Yes, you can be using the word when or if. If water gets below freezing, it turns into ice. Now here, if you are going to be mentioning first the result, be sure about the subject, because if you say, it turns into ice if water gets below freezing. No, that is not correct. You need to mention the subject in order that we know about who or about what you are talking about. The water, not the water. Water turns into ice. Water turns into ice if we are not going to be mentioning again. Water turns into ice if water gets, no, because we are going to be mentioning the same. Water turns into ice if it gets below freezing. Remember, we can use when. When the water gets below freezing, it turns into water. My condition and my result. Or changing places. Water turns into ice when it gets below freezing. Zero conditional. My situation in present, my result in present, my result in present, my situation or my condition in present. Okay. Remember, zero conditional. It is going to be for general truths, for scientific facts also, and here we have some examples. If it rains, we get wet. We would get if it rains. If the water boils, it is not cold. The water is not cold if it boils. Be playing with the subjects, okay? It is important that you know the subjects and how we are going to be using them. Now, as I was telling you, in zero conditionals, you can use if or you can use the word when. It is the same. If the temperature is 15, it snows. When the temperature is 15, it snows. No? If ice cream gets warm, it melts. When ice cream gets warm, it melts. the ice cream or the ice cream melts if it gets warm. The ice cream melts when it gets warm. Sometimes you are going to be changing the subject in order to avoid repetition and in order that we could know in an exact way who or what are we going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about ice cream melts if it gets warm. If ice cream gets warm, it melts. Okay, one way or another. So here you have more examples. If the telephone rings, it makes a noise. The telephone makes a noise if it rings. When the telephone rings, it makes a noise. The telephone makes a noise when it rings. Water evaporates if you boil it. If you boil water, it evaporates. When you boil water, it evaporates. Can you see? First, my condition, then my result. First, my result, and then my condition. With if or with when. And we were having some exercises that we were using in order to practice this. Remember, if you have some questions or some situations, let me know and I'm going to be helping you. Now, let's continue with my first conditional, okay? This is going to be super easy. First conditional. Very good. When are we going to be using the first conditional? Now, we are going to be changing. We are going to start present with present, present with future, then past with something, and so on, in order that we can be using this. Now, the situation in the first conditional is that now, yes, you are going to be having your first clause, your if, your magical word, and your present simple or simple present. But now the result has to be in simple future, with some exceptions, with commands or with modal verbs. Okay, those are going to be some exceptions. So when we are going to be making use of the first conditional, we are going to be talking, or we are going to be using our first conditional if you want to talk about some possibilities in the present or even in the future, okay? That's when you are going to be making use of our first conditional, talking about possibilities in the present or even in the future. Here you have some examples. If it rains, I will stay at home. My condition is in present and the result is going to be in future. If it rains, I will stay at home. If I wake up late, in present, my result is going to be taking place in future. I will miss the bus. And if it is sunny or if it's sunny, we will go to the park, or we'll go to the park. Can we make use of contractions? Yes, indeed. There is not a big deal with this. You can be using, making use of some contractions. It's okay, no trouble. Only when you have your correct spelling, grammatical structures, following the rules. Yes, indeed, you can be making use of contractions and so on. And if it's sunny, we will go to the park. Remember that "and" is a connector. Maybe you are connecting some ideas, and that's cool, that's great. If Juan leaves, Paula will be sad. Ooh, something in present with a consequence in the future. If I find your mail, I will send you the picture. Something that you are having in the present or something that you do in the present that will have a consequence in the future. If you study hard, you will pass your exam. If you do something today, present, you will be having a reaction on the future. You will be having a consequence. And when we are talking about consequences, I'm not talking about bad things, okay? Bad consequences. They can be, we used to call them consequences, but they are the result, positive or negative, no? Depending the condition or the condition. Remember, you can change places with the result and the condition. If it rains, I will stay at home. I will stay at home if it rains. Can we use when here? No, we cannot use when here, not anymore. Why? Because it is going to be super strange. When it rains, I will stay at home. When I wake up late, I will miss the bus. No, that doesn't sound well. Okay, so I will miss the bus if I wake up late. We'll go to the park and we can use and. We'll go to the park if it is sunny. We don't need to say goodbye to the connector, only to be fixing and ordering the sentences. And we'll go to the park if it's sunny. If Juan leaves, Paula will be sad. Paula will be sad if Juan leaves. If I find your email, I will send you the picture. I will send you the picture if I find your mail. If you study hard, you will pass your exam. You will pass your exam if you study hard. That's the first condition. And we were mentioning that we were going to be having different kind of conditionals. We can say that yes, we can say that no. Even we can ask some questions. The same structures that we follow. If I study, I will pass my exams. If I don't study, I won't pass my exams. If I study, will I pass my exams? Yes. My question could be at the end, at my second statement. Or you can say this, will I pass my exams if I study? Yes. Will I pass my exams if I study? Exactly, that is going to be correct. You can do almost whatever you want. If your sentence, if what you are saying has a correct meaning and sense, that's good. That's correct. Also, we are going to be talking about all the persons in English. First, second, third person, as you are doing. Okay? If we are going to be mentioning a third person, it's going to be, I say, if, I don't know, if Melissa studies, she will pass her exams. If Roberto studies, my rule, never forget about the rule. If Roberto studies, he will pass his exams. Roberto will pass his exams if he studies. Will Melissa pass his exams if she studies? That's what we are going to be doing. That's what we are going to be doing today. What do you think? Easy or difficult? Easy or difficult? If he doesn't study, he won't pass his exams. If he studies, will he pass his exams? Remember, we cannot stay only with names. Sorry, with subject, with personal pronoun. We can use names, we can use animals, we can use different situations. We can use different ways in order to sound more natural. For example, if, I don't know, if Iker studies, if Iker and Juan studies, they will pass their exams. Will Iker and Rodri pass their exams if they study? Yes, the only thing that you need to take care about is that you need to be collocated in the correct place and in the correct way. Personal pronouns, okay? That is going to be how we are going to be doing this. What do you think? Is it easy? Is it difficult? Tell me, tell me, tell me. If he studies, he will pass his exams. If you studies, you will be having some vacations. That could be, for example, very, very good. Remember that if you have some questions, please let me know and I'm going to be helping you. So remember, first conditional, my present simple and my result in future simple. If we work hard, we will finish the project on time. We can be mixing, we can be changing places. We will finish the project on time if we work hard. That could be great also. It's okay, remember your condition and never forget your comma if you are giving first the condition and then the result, okay? That is how we are going to be using this. Remember, we are going to be making use of the first conditional when we are going to be talking or expressing a real or a very, very, very probable situation in the future. And it is going to be referring to things that will possibly happen in the future, but if the condition is met, okay, we are going to be using our first conditional when we talk about plans, promises, when we talk about warnings, when we talk about threats, or when we are persuading or when we want to persuade someone. Yes, but how can I do this? Oh, well, if I go to Italy next week for work, I'll visit the Colosseum. This is like a plan that I have for you. If I have time tomorrow, I will help you. That is a promise that I'm making. If you touch that wire, you will get an electric shock. Warnings, okay? Threats. If you study, I will send you to Canada 1 month. That is like you are trying to persuade someone. What do you think? Easy or difficult? Easy, right? It's easy, it's easy. Don't worry, don't worry. So, here we have some examples with the first conditional. If the weather is nice, if I'll go to the park, it is like a plan that you have for the future. Or we can say, we'll go to the park, or I'll go to the park if the weather is nice. You can be changing places. It's cool. If it rains, I'll stay at home. That is going to be your result. Or I'll stay at home if it rains. My conditional then. Okay. First conditional. If you break a mirror, you will have 7 years of bad luck. You are like warning, okay? You will have 7 years of bad luck if you break a mirror. If he doesn't study harder, he will fail the exam. Oh, Luis will fail the exam if he doesn't study harder. You are warning. If you feel ill, oh, take a rest. Take a rest. that was what I was saying or mentioning at the beginning of the class. We are going to be having some exceptions with some commands or with modal verbs, okay? It is not necessary that I write the word will, because we already know that it is in future. If you feel ill, take a rest, okay? If in the future, or if you feel ill, take a rest. We are like thinking about, if I feel ill in this moment, I'm feeling ill, or maybe in the future I can feel ill. Ooh, that could it be great. And also when we are talking with some conditionals, with some modal verbs, if they play in the rain, they can get a cold. They can get a cold. Excellent. They can get a cold if they play in the rain. You know that is in future, okay? You know that is in future. That's the reason why we are not going to be making use of the word will, because it is in future, okay? Likely situations, imperatives, superstitions, and modals. Always remember your if, your sample present, and your result in future, or your result in future plus your conditional. What do you think? What do you think? Easy, right? For warnings, if we don't hurry, we will miss our train. We'll miss our train if we don't hurry. Do you have some questions? Sabe? No, it's okay. We are going to be practicing with this. Let's start. This is going to be super duper easy. Okay, here we go. I know that you can do it. So here we have some questions, okay? You are going to tell me which one is going to be the correct one. It is going to be the correct one. For example, here I have here, shall I make it bigger or not? Yes, I make it bigger. I'm making it bigger. Yes. If I time tonight, I will finish the novel that I'm reading. What do you think? If I time tonight, I will finish the novel I'm reading. What do you think? Okay, we cannot write will one more time because you already have a will here. So will is not going to be here. If I have time, remember it has to be in present, and your condition in future. If he, can you see here? If he calls me lazy again, super clue. Your result, your condition is here. You need to complete your result. I won't help him when he's in trouble. Because it's the only option with future, and also because the result has to be in future. If David, condition and result. If David, my clue is this. If my condition is here, my verb has to be in present. If David answer my phone this time, I call him again. What could it be the correct one? If David doesn't answer my phone this time, I won't call him again. You cannot say, if David is not answer my phone. No, If David is not answering my phone, that is correct. That is correct. Number 4. We are going to choose the correct sentence. If you won't try harder, you will fail. Will absolutely no. You are late if you won't leave now. You are late if and won't almost together. No, never ever. If the game is good, I am playing it. Present and present progressive. If the sun shines, I will go swimming. Yes, this option. Because remember, condition in present, result in future. Result in future. Number 5. You need to put the words into the correct order. If her mother exams Happy Bee, Jane passes will her. My goodness, what is this? You can. If her mother be happy, since this place, I can say no. If Jane will be happy, since this part, I can say no. If and will almost together, no. If Jane passes her exams, her mother will be happy. Ooh, excellent. Because if Jane will passes, no, never ever in the life. How I am going to be using will and present simple rules? No, never ever. If you eat too much junk food, you fatter. Will become, are becoming, became. Will become, remember, it is going to be in future. My condition is in present. I will stay in bed if I don't feel well tomorrow. Here the word was bed. I will stay in bed if I don't feel well tomorrow. This is my result in future. My condition has to be in present. If I not feel, no, that is not correct. If I felt, it is in past. If I don't feel, that is the correct. If you, I don't know what, by plane, eat 2 hours. If you are going, future, if you go, I will take my plane, that could be 1. If you go by plane, it will take 2 hours. If you will go, if won't go, how? My result in my condition? No, that is not correct. It is a letter be the number 2. What is wrong with this sentence? My uncle will buy a car if he have enough money. Will buy must be buy. Have must be has. Have must be will have. Or will buy must be buys. What do you think? Excellent. My uncle will buy a new car if he has, because it's present, my condition, enough money. And the number 10, I will leave early. My result is here. If I will finish, one more time will. If I am finished, what is this? If I finish my work, that could be. If I won, one more time future. Never ever in your life. 10 of 10, 10 of 10, 10, 10, 10 of 10. Excellent. Very good. That was a good one. Ooh. And we were talking about the first conditional. That was the first conditional. Super cool. Well, now, if you are ready, we can continue with the second conditional. Bravo for you. Oh, what's going on with my picture? I don't know. Well, as I was mentioning, zero conditional, done. First conditional, done. Oh, we are missing only two more conditionals and the mixed conditionals. And you are going to be an expert with this. That's awesome. That's super great. What's going on with my computer? Always happens, really, always happens. I don't know why. Okay, let's continue with this. The teacher is moving. Cool. Let's continue with the second conditional. And let me tell you that the second conditional now is going to be changing its form. We are going to be making use of our second conditional when we want to talk about hypothetical or unlikely situations. What is that? For unreal or for improbable situation now or in the future, because with the third conditional, we are going to be imagining a different past, but we cannot change that. For example, this is not second conditional. Here you have the example. If I was rich, I will travel the world. I will travel the world if I was rich. You can say, if I were, also we are going to be talking about was and were. But can you see here this? Ooh, this is my condition in past and my imaginary situation in an improbable future. If I was rich, I will travel the world. I will travel the world if I was rich. Second conditional. As I told you, the second conditional is going to be making use of the simple past, and your result is going to be making use of will. Okay. If I won the lottery, my verb is in past. If I won the lottery, I will buy a house. If I won the lottery, I will buy a house. If I met the Queen of England, I will say hello. Yes, it is a kind of strange. Ooh, but that could be great. Also, if I met the Queen of England, I would say hello. Oh, let's have other situations. If I were you, okay. Second conditional. Your if, magical word, plus past simple, and your result in present but conditional, good or good. Remember that we are going to be making use of our second conditional when we are talking about an imaginary situation in the present or in the future. For example, if I won $1 million, I will buy a new car. I'm imagining, okay? If I won $1 million, I will buy a new car. If I were you, I would quit smoking. It's an imaginary situation. If I were you, do you remember that in the first exercise we were having, if I was rich? Well, that sounded strange. Yes, indeed. You can listen to this. If I was rich, that does exist. Yes, but it is not so cool to say it, okay? If I was rich, actually, we are going to be making use of were for everybody. Like in this, in this example, if I were you, I would quit smoking. If I were a president, or if I were the president, I would lower taxes. They will stay longer if they had more time. If I won $1 million, I could stop working. If I had more free time, I could travel around the world. Can I use would and wouldn't? Yes. But remember that we can be using other conditionals. If your sentence is correct and if the context allow it. Cool or good? Those are correct. Both are correct, okay? If I had more free time, I could travel around the world. I'm imagining something. This is something hypothetical. Hypothetical. I'm imagining a different future. Okay, I'm dreaming about that. And obviously, we can be doing the same that with the other ones. I will buy a new car if I won $1 million. I will quit smoking if I were you. I will lower taxes if I were the president. Ah, they will stay at home. No, if they had more time, they would stay. I could stop smoking if I won $1 million. Ah, I could stop working if I won $1 million. I could travel around the world if I had more free time. That's how we are going to be making use of this. What do you think? Is it easy? Is it difficult? Tell me, tell me, tell me. It's great, right? It's easy, it's easy. It is going to be the same. It is going to be the same. I know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. But remember that it has to be in present conditional with cool. And also, yes, why no? You can be making use of cool if it is allowed. Excellent. Very, very good. Very, very good. Easy or difficult? Here we have some examples about this. Remember, if and my past, okay? Plus good, cool, or even you can be using might. It is also a modal verb that you can be using, and that it's going to be super great and super correct. Really, actually. What do you think? Essay or difficult? That's great. That's great. So let's continue with some examples that I have here. If John had, remember, my verb has to be in past. If John had a car, he wouldn't need to take the bus. Negatives? Yes, as we were saying, negative or saying that yes or saying that no. Carlos wouldn't need to take the bus if he had a car. The only thing that we are going to be taking care about is going to be about the subject, okay? Specifying. If it weren't raining, past, we could take a walk. Negative and affirmative, that's going to be great. If I won the lottery, I might quit my job. I might quit my job if I won the lottery. We could take a walk outside if it weren't raining. He wouldn't need to take the bus if John had, he wouldn't need to take the bus if he had a car. If we don't want to mention the names, okay? What do you think? Remember, past, past, past. Can I use my past progressive? Yes, why not? If it were raining, why? Because my verb is in past. This is going to be like part of my complement. And you can be using it because it is in past. Any kind of past, no problem. And we can use good, cool, or might in order to talk about the result. Easy or difficult? As I was telling you, you can be switching sentences. Just be careful with the subjects, okay? Be careful with the subjects. Imagine if, what could you do if you were rich? What could you say if you were in front of the president? Where would you go if you had the opportunity? Ooh, those are going to be some questions that we are going to be using. We are going to be imagining with this, imagining, okay, a different future or a different present. That's when we are going to be using or making use of the second conditional. If everything in past, remember, where with the verb to be, and my good, my cool, or my might. Excellent. What could you do? What would you say? Where could you go if you are going to be answering to this? What do you think, my dear students? Was it easy or difficult? Easy, right? It was important that we could have a general review about the other conditionals, because we are going to be going to another steps, and we need to know how to use them in a very, very, very correct way. Please, my beautiful students, if you have any question, any situation, let me know, and I'm going to be helping you, okay, with extra exercises, I don't know, during the classes, and so on, in order that you can be using this in a very, very, very good way. Amazing students, please let me know your questions, your suggestions. Try to be on class and some. And first, God, I will see you soon. Thank you very much. Tomorrow we will end and we will finish with the conditionals, and we are going to start with something else. Have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Bye, bye, bye.